Hi guys. So I'm coming through because I told you guys I was gonna pop on today for this quick video to discuss this topic that I find to be very, very disturbing. So I'm just gonna wait a few seconds. Hi Annette. How are y'all? You see. Oh, great, Sandra. Did you like the video? All right, so I'm just waiting for a few more people to pop in, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get started with tonight's, or I don't know what time it is in America, but it's like almost 1 a.m. here. Hi. All right, so the topic tonight is about morals. I wanted to talk about this because of the backlash. I don't get a lot of backlash. Let me say that. The women, I have a high quality grade of women. Oh, I'm so glad you caught a live too. I have a high quality grade of women that follow me. So let me be clear about that. You know, the women that follow me, for the most part, are very classy. You know, they're sophisticated, they understand right from wrong, and you know how important it is for us to be role models for our youth. They, you know, for the most part, the women that follow me, my core audience who's supposed to be following me, you know, I think they get, you know, how important it is for us to hold ourselves to certain standards. But thank you, Victoria. But I will say that there is a certain demographic of women, and it's not a judgment of them. That's another thing. You know, I've been getting a lot of comments about, oh, well, you know, you're so judgmental. That sounds like your feelings are hurt in some way, because in actuality, if we're gonna say people are judgmental, everybody's judgmental. You know, there is something that you don't agree with. There is something that you think is inappropriate or disgusting or gross, or that doesn't fit with your moral code. And so anyone can come to you and say, oh, well, you're so judgmental. You know, like anyone can say that to you. So it really doesn't make sense when people try to accuse other people of being judgmental. And for those of you who are spiritual, you know, we are called to call each other out on our crap. And while people may not like my delivery or my style, I may not like their delivery or their style. That's about personality. And I don't worry about people liking me for my personality, because we are all equal. We are all talented. We all have things to offer. And everybody may not be your cup of tea, and I may not be everyone else's cup of tea, but I don't care. You know, I don't care because I'm too blessed. I don't care because I've been through too many things in my life where I have been able to overcome and better myself. And I'm still on that process. I'm growing as a woman. I'm maturing as a woman. I'm learning as a woman, as a wife, as a mother, as a daughter, as an aunt. And maybe one day that journey will lead me to motherhood, but I don't know. I'm still a little leery about motherhood. It's a really big responsibility. It's a really big responsibility. It's a really big responsibility that I would say a lot of people don't take seriously. As an educator, as someone who's worked with youth, as someone who mentors to this day, our girls are in a state of emergency. And in particular, our girls in between the ages of 13 to 16. And then it progresses from that 18 to about 25 age range, where we are totally in a state of emergency. Thank you, Melissa. We're totally in a state of emergency. It is desperate. It is really, really desperate. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Sandra. So first of all, before I get started on this topic, I just want to talk about what morals are. Okay, the definition of a moral is a standard of behavior. Okay, it is a principle of right and wrong. That's what morals are. When someone says, do you have any morals? What they are asking you is, do you have any principles that you live by? Morals doesn't really pertain to religion per se. It doesn't pertain to a certain culture. Well, it could. Somebody could equate certain things about their morality to certain cultures, okay? Because in certain cultures, people are raised certain ways. In certain religious settings and religious traditions, and there are cultural practices that we could talk about, but that's not important. I'm not here to talk about religion, or to talk about necessarily how someone should choose to live by their morals. I'm just going to make a few points. Right, yeah. So once again, morals refer to standards of behavior. They deal with what's right, and they deal with what's wrong. And everyone should live by morals. If you don't live by any type of morals, you are basically saying, I'm an animal. I am an animal, and I do anything, I say anything, I put anything to my body, I go with the wind. I do whatever I feel. I live by no principles. I live by no type of rules. I just do anything. And so that's what someone is saying when they say I have no morals. They're basically saying I do anything, just like the animals. And even animals have morals. I think, even though they can't talk and speak and rationalize, they don't have the logic that humans have. They live by their own moral code of survival. And so when we have things in the world like a slut walk that people actually attend and say, I'm a slut, I support sluts. Women should be able, and I get the premise of a slut walk. I'm not slow, so I know that Amber Rose created the slut walk to downplay misogyny, to downplay the double standard that men have for women. And I do understand that there is a double standard, but what women seem not to understand is there is a double standard for a reason. Men and women are not equal. We are not equal. We are both equally valuable, but we have different roles in the world. And you can even say we have different roles in relationships, and we also have different roles just as human beings. The thing is, women were always better than men, in my opinion, morally. Morally, there was a time where women upheld themselves, to a certain standard. And I see y'all saying things. I'm gonna scroll through the comments after I finish my little commentary. Thank you, Melissa. There was a time where women were put on a pedestal for a reason. Before the breakdown of the community, in particular the Black community, before the welfare system basically ran everything in more poverty-driven communities, before, we had great family structures, we had the Black Wall Street, we had Black business, Black people actually supported Black business, parents took their children to church. Now, I am no fan of the Black church right now, even though you guys know my stance on religion and being religious. I don't hide that. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not embarrassed by it. But I'm not a fan of the Black church. I'm not, because they have dropped the ball. They don't preach from the word. They don't tell the truth. And a lot of it has it deals with politics, and religion should never be about politics. It should never be used as a form of, you know, making money. It should never be used as a form to show off and be flashy, and it should never be used for these things. You know, it should never be a place where they're afraid to actually say what's right and what's wrong. So this is the problem with the world in general, is that because the church has failed people, because we have so many hypocrites, and you know, I don't say that in a judgmental way, because I'm sinful, I sin, I'm not perfect, but I wouldn't consider myself a hypocrite. You know, if I do something wrong, if you ask me a question, I'm gonna tell you the truth. You know, I'm not going to try to sugarcoat and make myself look better than what I am. Lord, my lash is just like totally popped off, y'all. Lash, why, girl? It's the end of the night. My lash is just like, look, it's just like, forget it. No, you're not going to stay on. It's time for me to do me, you know. And my lash is like, let me do me. Anyway, why my lash pops off, let me continue. So when we have things like the slut walk and, you know, things like that, I get the message is that there's a double standard, but there's a double standard for a reason. As women, we're supposed to be better, okay? We're supposed to be better. And let me tell you why. And someone might say, oh, why? Why do we need to be better? I don't get it. Why? I want to be equal to a man. I want to do what I want to do. I want to be sexually free. And I don't have a problem with any woman who wants to be sexually free until you have children. That's the difference between a man and a woman. And I'll even go down to our sexual organs in a second. A man and a woman is just different. A man cannot bear a child. A woman can. And that's the distinct difference between why a woman is not free to be empowered. Because as a woman, you have no choice but to be a mother. A man has to play his role as a father, but he can't bear the children. He can't carry he can't carry that seed, okay? He can implant the seed, but he cannot carry the seed. And so that is the distinct difference between a man and a woman. At the end of the day, you will never be equal to a man. Because if you don't choose the right man as your husband to start a family with, that man can impregnate you and decide, hey, I don't want to be a dad. I think I'm going to leave. And guess what? You will still be stuck being the mother. Not stuck like that, because every mother, well, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say every mother loves their child, but that's obvious. That's not true. They might love them in their own sick way, but every mother does not love their child the way they should, even if they love them in their own sick way. So it makes no logical sense to say that women and men are equal. We're not equal. We serve different purposes and different roles. It doesn't mean we can't serve some of the same roles, but a man cannot carry a child. So society is never going to look at you as a woman the way they're going to look at a man, because they're going to look at you and say, wow, you can bear children. You can carry that child. You're going to teach that child everything. Y'all see my lash? It's off. You're going to be able to teach that child everything it needs to know. And so being logic should tell you that you are different from a man, and you have a bigger responsibility once you start to bring children into the world as a woman. Secondly, women and men have different sexual organs. Women are receivers. Men are givers. that, you know, people like to talk about as far as feminism, and, you know, men are just terrible and they're misogynistic, which they can be. But listen, you choose to date these men, and you pick them for your boyfriends, your husbands, and your spouses. You know, I mean, listen, you have to take responsibility for how you choose to live your life as well. And that's me. I've made poor decisions in my life, and believe me, some of those decisions I had to pay for. And some of those decisions I'm still paying for. So, you know, when people say, I want to be like a man and blah, blah, blah. You're not a man, because a man enters you if you're a woman. Do you know how intimate that is? Do you know how intimate it is that a man can enter you? His spirit, his sexual organ, that alone should make you pump the brakes on who you allow to enter your special, sacred, most precious cavity of your body. And while I understand the premise of things like the slut walk, I'm not, bashing the slut walk. That's Amber Rose's right. It's America. She better be glad she lives in America. It should be a great country to her, because a lot of countries in the world, she could not do that foolishness. So it sends the wrong message to young women, because it sends them the message that it doesn't matter how many men I have sex with. It doesn't matter. I'm like a man. I'm a man. But you will never be a man, no matter how hard you try. And people will never treat you like you are a man, no matter what you pretend to be, no matter how confident you are and that you're equal and you can do what a man does. No one's ever going to treat you like that. It doesn't make logical sense. And so God bless those little girls, or those, and I'm calling little girls women from the ages of 16 up to like 25. I was a little girl until a couple years ago, in my opinion. I'm just walking into adulthood, and I still have a lot to learn. So you're dealing with children and impressionable minds, and all they see is slut walk. Like that's all they're gonna see. Is they're gonna see the big slut walk. And like I said, this is not a video about the slut walk. I was just using that as an example of irresponsible things that women do. And everyone should have morals. They don't have to be my morals. But the biggest question I have for you guys as I wrap this video up is, why are women so afraid of morals? Why does it offend them that someone would go on their platform and say, on their platform, not someone else's platform, not anybody else's platform, your platform, and for you to say, hey, this is what I'm just gonna pull this lash off, y'all, because I can't deal. I'm about to go to bed anyway. I couldn't deal with this foolishness. I tried to hold on so I could look cute for y'all, but I'll just have to look halfway cute now. Why would that bother anybody? Like, why? Why does it bother you to say, for me or for any person on their platform to say, you should be a better role model for our young women? You shouldn't be online in your underwear for no apparent reason. If you are a model, if you are getting paid, and even when you're getting paid, it should be very tasteful, especially if you have someone in your home that looks up to you. Because a lot of us have a little leeway because we don't have that little person looking up to us. But can you believe sluts have their own category? Yeah, I could believe it, because we live in a very sick society. There are a lot of sick, strange people in this world who don't care about the youth. They could care less about those 12 and 13-year-olds who are mimicking and want to be just like their favorite celebrity and just like their favorite star. And they live and die by everything Cardi B says, everything Beyonce says and does when she's using all of that profanity on stage. I have a problem with Beyonce as well. You know, people like to look up to her as a role model, and I think she's done great things, and I don't deny her talent. I don't think she's the most talented person I've ever seen in my life or anything like that. People be doing too much with that. But I do think she's innovative and takes ideas from other people and puts them together on her own platform really great. I think she's beautiful. I think she's innovative. But all that profanity and crotch shaking that she does, I have a problem with that too. And you know, people will look at Michelle Obama and say, well, they love him, it must be good. You know, Michelle Obama and her husband are old. They are settled in, their kids are grown. You know, it doesn't affect them. It doesn't affect them. But it does affect our young girls. Because if they see someone like Beyonce, you know, using curse words for no apparent reason, sometimes there's not even a reason. And, you know, I say curse words. It's not really about cursing. It's just about the way you present yourself as a package to our young people. It's dangerous. It's dangerous because our young people don't understand assimilation yet. Like, they don't understand that there's a certain way you need to act in front of your family. There's a certain way you may want to act when you're around your friends. There's a certain way you want to act, you know, when you're on a job interview or when you're around people you've never met. These people don't discuss these little, it's a word I'm looking for, but they don't discuss these little caveats that need to be discussed. And as a whole, I think, do y'all have any reasons why y'all think, and I'll scroll back to see what y'all are saying. Saw your post today about sex and waiting. I'm 32 and sometimes feels like it holds me back from guys wanting to be in a serious relationship. Well, this is what I feel about sex. If a woman has a personal moral code where she does not want to have intercourse before marriage, there's more to be said about that. A lot of people would just look at religion as a reason for that, but there is a bigger reason to wait, and I believe this is why premarital sex is not looked upon greatly in the Bible. Because keep in mind, when you don't engage in premarital sex, you don't have a lot of problems. You don't have to worry about STDs. You don't have to worry about AIDS. You don't have to worry about becoming a single mother, because most likely you are going to marry someone that you take your time with, not get to know non-sexually. Y'all are going to build a serious bond. And it doesn't matter if you date this person 3 months. I read an Instagram message from a girl who dated a guy 3 months and got married because she wanted to have sex. He wanted to have sex. They loved each other. They were ready. And no one can tell you how to live by your own moral code. That's your decision. So this is what I will say. If you meet a guy and he's pressuring you for sex, obviously he doesn't want to get to know you. Books. Yes, I have a couple of books that I can come back and recommend to you. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but I will come back and do a complete video on resources for women who want to learn more about how to develop your own moral code, self-esteem, and things like that. I can come back and do a video for that. If a guy is leading with sex and all he talks about is sex and he just wants to Netflix and chill and he wants you to come over and all of that, well, that's not your guy, okay? And I know you may say, well, Kim, that's easy for you to say. You're married, you've been married for a long time, you're happily married. Listen, I was young once too, but I was not loose. I was lonely a mini night. I felt like I didn't fit in. I felt like I was strange. I even wondered, was I unattractive because I was different from other people? You know, I was not a sexually loose woman. And I think sometimes it's hard because society is so driven in that direction. Everything is take your clothes off, be naked, turn around. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. It really is. It's just, God bless our children. It's disgusting. So I think that if a man is leading to be sexual with you instead of really getting to know what's inside your heart, then that's not your guy. And so you have to know your worth, and you have to be willing to wait it out, baby. Some things you just gotta wait out for, and some things are worth waiting for. I will say that. So let me see what your other comments are. So do y'all have any other ideas of why women are so afraid of morals? Even if you say your morals and what you believe, people are just so offended. They are offended. They're like, what? I don't have to wait till marriage to have sex. It's okay if I live with my boyfriend so he can play house with me and not really marry me. It's okay. Okay, well, that's okay for you, miss. And I don't judge you for it, because what you do is you. Everybody has their own moral code, but don't come over here with that moral code, because that's not what we believe, okay? We're not judging you, but that's not what we as sophisticated, upright, righteous, you know, women who understand we are role models to the younger girls, that's not what we promote. We don't promote that. We don't promote those things. We don't do that. Let's see what else you guys said. Somebody, Beautiful Bean said, yes, they will say you think you are better. No, you think I'm better. That's what bothers you. Exactly. People think, you know, I think I've had a couple people say to me, you know, you've changed. No, this is who I always was. I just didn't tell you. Because I was afraid too. You know, people comment all day and they say, you know, Kim, you're so brave. Like, you're so, how do you do it? Like, how do you say what you feel? Because none of these girls pay my bills. They don't pay my bills. They don't buy me purses. They don't take me on trips. They don't open my eyes in the morning. They don't close my eyes at night. They don't pay my bills. Again, they don't do anything for me. They're strangers. So what I realized is, why should I be afraid of a stranger and what a stranger's opinion is of me? But I think you hit the nail on the head with that. I think that the reason that women with a moral code who speaks out on certain things, I think it bothers them because they know they live by no standards. So I agree with that. What else are y'all saying? We may have the same value as men in the eyes of God, but we are not the same. We have different roles. Yes, men and women have different roles, but both equally valuable. We are both valuable. The man is not like up here, and as women, we are all the way down here. Like, that mentality, I don't even think like that. I think too highly of myself to think I'm beneath my husband, like he should treat me like trash. Like, no, he should treat me as his equal, but he is the head of the home, and I require him to act as such. Someone said, trust me, I teach these girls. Yep. Really look up to social influencers. Yes, they love social media and they look up to people who have platforms and they live by those things. One girl, 14 years old, had lashes. I told her she had to take it off. Yeah, why are you wearing lashes at 14? Why? You're 14 years old. Who are you trying to attract? For what reason? Is there somewhere, wait, I just missed that question. Is there somewhere I can post on Patreon about sex celibacy? Yes. Are you in the Wifey for Lifey group? And anybody who wants to join one of my private groups, the link is in the description box. I have a fashion group all about leveling up, getting our look together, getting what we want, increasing our income, attracting high quality men, keeping the high quality men that we have, living our best life, doing everything, taking trips, changing our careers, getting promotions. We're leveling up with our makeup, with our look, and with our personalities. So if you're in the Wifey for Lifey group, you can post about that. Do you know any? I answered that. Melissa said the advice my mama gave me: women control the sexual climate. If you want to wait in a relationship, I didn't care about the pressure. Yeah, women succumb to pressure so easily. And let me be clear, we do have to have a heart for certain type of women. And what I'm speaking of is when I mentor some of these young girls down to the age of 11 and 12, I'm gonna tell you, a lot of these girls have been molested. They've been molested or raped or touched in an inappropriate way. And if you read any, book from a psychologist or any book, any medical study about what the effects are of being raped or being molested are, you will know that promiscuity is one of the side effects of that, of being violated, being raped, basically raped as a child. And that goes on more than people like to talk about in our communities. It goes on a lot. Sexual abuse. And so we do have to have a heart for women and be supportive of each other, because we don't know everyone's story, and we don't know why certain women act out the way they do and why they carry themselves the way they do. It might seem really disgusting and grotesque and weird, but a lot of women have issues. I mean, and we all have an issue, but I mean, some women have some deep-rooted, seated issues that they need to go speak to a healthcare provider about. And then also, if they want to be spiritual, then they need to go and tap into their spirituality as well. They're afraid because it's going against what societal norms say. That's what Kat said. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can agree with that too. If you go against the grain at all, people don't like you. They don't like it. They think you're being judgmental. They think you're being mean. They don't like it because people want to feel good about everything. Even if their decision is poor, they want to feel good about it. I think some women are afraid because the women are seen getting chosen have no morals. It seems as though all the hoes are winning. Well, I don't think that's true. I'm not a hoe and I feel I'm winning. Everything I want, I'm pretty much getting. I know a lot of other women who also live by a certain moral code. They believe in the concept of what's right and what's wrong, and they live by their code. So I think that's the perception, maybe because of who we're looking at. See, we also have to be careful about what we watch. And don't get me wrong, I love a good Love and Hip Hop episode for humor, just like the next girl. I'm not above Love and Hip Hop and Atlanta Housewives, but I did stop watching those things religiously because it rubs off on you. That type of ghetto attitude, acting masculine, wanting to fight. You may think you can watch that and it will not rub off on you, but it will. It will. So every now and then, because I do like K. Michelle, I think she's funny. She's off her wonker too, but she's funny, she's charismatic, and I see a lot of good qualities in K. Michelle. And when she matures more, I think she's really gonna be a dynamic woman, such as Fantasia is now. I watched Fantasia grow into this woman that she's become. It's so classy, it's so positive, I'm so all over Fantasia right now because she's a clear example of your past does not define you. I don't care how many men you've had intercourse with, you can choose to change. I don't care if you were in a situation that was embarrassing and that you thought would kill you. You can change. You can change your life. You can totally flip your life around. So what Fantasia is doing for younger women to show I made some mistakes. I made some bad decisions along the way. But look at me now. I'm married. I'm married to a good man. I have a career that I love. I may not be the A-list celebrity, but she's making her coins, using her talented. She is one of the most talented singers out there, could go toe-to-toe with anyone. And I think that we need more examples like this to say, you know, you can overcome past mistakes. So I think it's who we look at. I think we have to be careful about who we look at. Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that women, we have a lot of power. I think if a man really wants you and you tell him, listen, I'm not going there with you, believe me, if he wants you, if he sees you as wifey material, if he thinks he's gonna settle down with you, he gonna go along with whatever your program is. Because my man did. whatever the climate was of my relationship when it came to my feminine parts, that was decided by me, not the man. Okay, so women like to say, oh, he used me. No, you let him use you. Take accountability now. You got to be responsible. You control that, not the man. Two queens who were empowered. Esther and Jezebel. Yep. One built a kingdom and the other tore it down. Melissa, I love that. I remember in a few videos back, you made a statement that women are not equal to men. You stated that you want to be treated better than men. Can you speak on that? Yes, I can, Victoria. In today's society, you will have a lot of women say, well, I want to be equal to a man. I want to do everything that he does. I want all the rights, everything that a man does, I want to be able to do. I want us to be total on even playing field. But the thing is, a high quality man does not put you at his equal. He puts you up here. So how he treats you, how he talks to you, how he handles you, is always going to be like you're on a pedestal. When you say you want to be equal, then you're putting yourself down. Because now you're telling a man, I want to split the rent with you or the mortgage with you. I don't want you to carry my bags. I don't want you to, you know, if you're somebody that doesn't like to mow the lawn or do like yard work, you're saying, I don't want you to be responsible for the yard work. You know, you're saying, I don't want you to give me preferential treatment. You're saying, you know, I want to work just as hard as you. That's what you're telling a man when you say, I want to be equal. So I don't believe in the concept of equal. We are equal in God's eyes. One is not higher than the other, but we are not equal in our roles, because that's why you have masculine and that's why you have feminine. The masculine, we all have a little bit of both in us, because you can see some women really operate in their masculine. But the feminine cannot be resisted. Men love feminine women. They love them. And they will break their backs to give them what they want because they are feminine. And so nothing makes a man more excited than a feminine woman. A woman who knows how to handle him and who knows how to put him in his place in a feminine way, not in a dominant, we're equal, do what I say, I'm your mama. That's never gonna work for you, okay? And I did the femininity challenge in my fashion group, so I'm gonna bring some feminine elements to the Wifey for Lifey group too, but we did do the femininity challenge in the fashion group. You did well. You say it's not about religion. Your speech and beliefs are very much biblical, dear. Yeah, they are. But morals have nothing to do about the Bible. You know, morals. Someone can say, "I respect my body, and I'm not going to just misuse it because they have that moral code." That has nothing to do with the Bible. If you say, "I don't care who enters my body," you're basically saying I'm an animal. So my views might be biblical, but that's my business. But anybody could have a standard that's not biblical. That you could be an atheist and you could say, I respect my body. No, I'm not going to live with you before marriage. No, I'm not going to go out and curse you out because then I will look trashy and low class. No, I'm not going to show up to work late every day. That has nothing to do with the Bible. Everybody creates their own moral code. And some people base their moral code in their religion. And there are many religions. You have Muslims, you have Christians, Buddhism. You have all types of religions. It doesn't matter what the religion is. Everybody should have morals. And there are certain morals you should just have if you have children. Because if you don't, you're a terrible person. And you're leading your child down to a life of destruction. So yeah, my perspective is more biblical, but that's my business. That doesn't mean that someone else's moral code has to be like mine. But I'm gonna say what I want on my platforms, because they're my platforms. We also have to raise our boys. Yes. But I don't speak to men. I only speak to women. I don't know what it's like to be a man. I don't know what it's like for them. I don't know what their issues are, but men should have morals too. My husband's morals is what makes me attracted to him. He's a very righteous dude. You know, he believes in doing what's right at the core of him. And that's what I find so wonderful about him, is that he's really someone that wants to do right. And when he falls short and he does the wrong thing, it kills him. It really bothers him. And I admire that in him. That's sexy to me. I just love that. My husband was a virgin when we started dating because he said he was looking for a wife. See, yeah. And a lot of men would laugh at a man that's a virgin. Ha, ha, ha. I don't want no virgin. Stupidity. But the Bible speaks of this. For those of you who are believers, it speaks of how the world will act and will respond if you live according to a standard. It talks about how the path is narrow. See, the world's way is wide, but the path of righteousness is like this. So we know that that's honorable for a man who is not out here doing it willy-nilly. Because when you get married, you can do anything. You can be as freaky as you want. You can learn all the tricks and flips and whatever. Yes, I will say that my hubby puts me before himself, and that's why I have no problem submitting. That's right. My husband treats me like a queen, so I treat him like a king. Love that. Morals is self-standard and structure. Yeah, it's a self-standard. It is. You're an educator and you work with children for years, so I think that gives you the credibility on speaking on the subject. Yeah, it does, because I've seen some terrible things in children. I've seen some really bad things that have happened to kids, and it breaks my heart. It really does. What else are y'all saying? Oh, no, I'm sorry. I wasn't meant to read you. That's just, my bad. It's late here. Sometimes I jump the gun. So I hope it didn't sound like that, but it was just like, people say that to me all the time, like, well, it's biblical. You're talking biblical. And I'm like, so? And that's another thing. People have been hurt by the church so bad that I didn't mean to come at you like that. Like, sometimes I get like that, and I don't mean any harm by it. I feel like people like always say that to me all the time, so maybe that's a sensitive area. I'm not sensitive about much, but when it comes to my beliefs and morals, that's where I'm sensitive, because it means so much to me, and I'm passionate. So I didn't mean to be like that. I apologize if I came off whatever. But you should be able to believe what you want to believe. And people have been hurt by the church, and they've been hurt by people who said they were Christians. And so you will see people will talk about God all the time, and they'll be, you know, if you don't care about God and you don't care about Christians and you don't care about any of it, you wouldn't be so passionate about it. Like, you wouldn't have to say, well, I don't believe God is real and the church is this and the church is that. But that's pain, you know. And so I understand that the church has done damage to people as well. And so I am empathetic to that. I know that the church has destroyed some people where it was supposed to save people. It destroyed them because they had people betray them. They had people talk about them, backstab them. They saw hypocrisy. You know, I get all that. But your relationship with God has nothing to do with the church. We can't be simple. We have to use our brain, you know, and learn for ourselves. You know, just because a church is bad or does bad things, that has nothing to do with your personal relationship with God. Your personal relationship with God is your personal relationship with God. It has nothing to do with a church, with a man-made church, with their own little rules. It has nothing to do with that. Thank you, Fashion Junkie. Do you think the husband should be responsible for his? Do you think that the husband should be responsible for his wife's debts, credit card, school card? Yes, but I don't think a wife should bring a lot of debt into a relationship and expect her man to pay for it. That's crazy. You know, if you can find a man to do it, you know, do it. But is it morally upright? Does that make you a good candidate? No. Because if I was a man, that would be the first thing we would do before we got married, or woman. We would go get credit checks. Because I need to know your credit score, and you need to know mine. Because you need to know if you're marrying a liability. Now, a man that has a lot of money, and it won't matter to him, that won't be an issue. But if you're only marrying a man that, you know, is in a certain income bracket, and you know it's not a bracket that's going to be able to handle your student loans, your car, your all this debt that you have, you can't expect him to come in and swoop you up. So that's why when you're picking a spouse, these are things to consider. You know, does he have good credit? Does he have a career, or does he have a job? You know, is his earning potential going to go up? You know, these are things that people don't think about when they get married. Especially me. When I got married, I met my husband. I say I met him at 23, but I think we were like, I was 22. But I know we started going strong at 23. That's when we really developed the relationship. I wasn't thinking about no credit and know what our careers was gonna be, because I came from a good home. He came from a good home. We didn't want for anything. You know, that's not how we were dating. We dated for love. But in today's society, people are so conniving and cunning, and you got all this stuff going on. So you can't marry a liability. People talk about church hurt, but don't people want outside the church hurt too? As long as we have sinful flesh, we will have the church conundrum. God didn't do anything wrong to me. Correct. People are people. People are people. So whether it's the church people that hurt you, or whether it's the worldly people that hurt you, we're all going to hurt each other because we're not perfect. I don't know why people don't grasp this concept. Being a Christian has nothing to do with being perfect. All it has to do with is living your life by a certain moral code. And if you fail to meet that code, you have to make the corrections. So I think that's a good point. We're all gonna hurt people sometimes, and we're gonna do hurtful things. We're people. This is the flesh. We're gonna do that. I wish I would have thought more about my finances and careers. Yes. So that's it, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here now. But I just want to send a message out, especially to those of you who are role models to other people and you choose to take on that role of a role model. Make sure that you are doing the right thing by the young people who look up to you. And that means making sacrifices sometimes. And we're all gonna fall short, but some people, what they're doing is destructive. And it's, in particular, it's destructive to the Black community. In particular, the Black community has a 77% out of wedlock birth rate. What is that doing to our children when they don't see mothers and fathers together? What does that do to our children when they see all these women on Instagram? I don't know what they're doing. I don't even know. I know some people are being paid, but not a majority of those people on Instagram are not being paid. You know, what are you doing? What is the point of what you're doing when you're bending over on all fours? Are you that in need of someone to say that you look good, that you are willing to compromise yourself as a woman? It's interesting. These are things to think about. It's interesting. It is. I love the level up movement you're doing. Yeah, and a lot of women here on YouTube are all talking about leveling up. Some women I agree with, some women I don't agree with. It's a trend, and it's a trend that I wanted to take on in a different way, because I think the way some people are approaching the topic of leveling up is superficial. I think it's not beneficial to women. And I think that while I agree with bits and pieces of different people who are talking about leveling up, I think that we need to still be able to keep our moral code intact while we level up, and it's possible. With the teacher shortage, will you do a live on teaching and being an educator and leaving? I stopped teaching. One reason is I didn't think I could handle some of the kids and the issues. Yeah, I can definitely do that. Quitting teaching was very hard for me. It was very hard for me. But I really, honestly, I didn't quit necessarily because of the kids, although that was a component. Like, it takes a lot out of you to be a teacher. And I taught middle school and high school, and that's really tough. That's a really tough age range. I think I was losing my patience. Y'all see how I flip out sometimes? Not flip out, but y'all see that what I'm passionate about, it can come off as combative. It could come off as like I'm being aggressive, but I'm just very self-assured in what I believe in, and sometimes it could come off kind of like, like I'm mean, but that's like my style. That's just kind of my flavor. But I needed a break. I needed a break. So yeah, I could do a video about that because teaching is an important job and it's needed. Yes, I love being a feminine woman too. I love being a feminine woman. Yeah, it's my students' issues. You and fellow YouTube blogger and relationship coach Monique Head are really helping to bring back godly femininity. Young women need this today. Yes, we need women who are willing to be role models, because obviously everyone else is unwilling. I guess getting a like on Instagram, or maybe wishing a dude would DM you is more important than saying, I might have a young cousin or a young high school student or your daughter watching what you're doing. I guess that's not enough to live by a moral code. But whatevs. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, guys, that's it. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I will see you next time. Thank you.